So all of the complaints started in December 3rd. That is, the complaints were made in the first week of December 2015. But the content of the complaints were of incidents of sexual harassment which had happened, I think, in the course of the past 2 years. At the time of the complaint, past 2 years. So it was after this meeting called by the chairperson of ICC, and in which all girls of the institute were called, and we had a session with the ICC chairperson where a lot of girls spoke about the kind of experiences they have been having in the institute, and then there were a lot of verbal complaints which were made on that day. And then the ICC chairperson said that under the Sexual Harassment Act you have a provision to make a complaint, and then we can, the ICC can take its course of action. So right after that day, a lot of complaints started pouring in. A lot of students complained.
As she said that the ICC chairperson held a meeting with all the girl students of the institute, and in fact she was quite aghast because she had actually no idea that so many instances of sexual harassment had been taking place on campus. And after that there was a meeting with the then director of the institute, where again the director, the chairperson of ICC, all the girl students were invited. Not all the girls were present, but a lot of them were present, and the members of the then students association were present. And the director explained us the provisions of the Vishaka guidelines and the provisions in the Sexual Harassment Act 2013. He explained them to us in a very detailed manner. He told us that it's according to both these acts, sexual harassment does not mean only physical assault or something like that. Any kind of gesture, verbal, anything that made you uncomfortable in this institute by anybody, please complain to us. We will look into the matter. So after that, as she said, the complaints started pouring in after these both two meetings. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So then after that, all of us gave our statements also, and after that, what happened is that till then nobody knew if people were in support or against, or nobody knew the nature of the complaints, even the complainants actually. Nobody knew the identities of complainants. But what happened is that my case against this professor on the charge of rape, that was forwarded to the police without my permission and without informing the ICC also. In fact, I had told...
Who did that? The
this
director?
This was done by the director. Then director is Mr. Sanjay Patnaik. So at that time, the ICC chairperson, according to rules, you're supposed to ask the complainant, do you want to go to the police? So this was asked to me thrice, I think, and thrice I had said no, because like dealing with the police is, you know how it is. So I did not want to go through that. But then despite all that, without asking me or even informing the ICC chairperson, they forwarded the complaint to the police. And I think it was 23rd December night, police came to the campus, and I just didn't know what to do. Like, they were saying that you have given this complaint, now sign on this, we want to proceed. And I was thinking, like, I had repeatedly said I don't want to go to the police now, why is this happening? And on the very same day, when I tried to get in touch with the director and the registrar was the person who had signed the letter, but both of them had, the director was not picking the call, and registrar apparently had gone on a leave for 7 days or something. So at night I had to rush to the ICC chairperson's place. She lives on campus. So then I was telling her what has happened. So she herself didn't know because nobody had informed her also. So then I consulted some of my friends who knew, very few friends, like who knew about this case, and asked them if I should go ahead with the police complaint. And I told the police that I needed 1 day's time to sign on it. So on that night I decided that okay, I will go ahead with the police complaint. I am okay now. I'll prepare myself for the court and all that. So the very next day, the police came and took my signature on the deposition, on the complaint. And then
that's a complaint that they had prepared themselves? Or?
no, what had happened is the institute had forwarded the complaint I had given to ICC directly to police.
Okay.
So that complaint I signed, and after that, what happened is that I think once I signed on that and it became a police complaint, the press got into picture. So I spoke to the press and I told, I said that I am the complainant who gave this thing, and I was basically talking about how the police had harassed me and all that, and even how the institute is not standing by me because they're not even giving a person to accompany me in all these things, in all the police proceedings. So I spoke of all that, and then Times of India reported the story, and after that report, the girl students, a group of girl students called for a meeting in which they strongly condemned the Times of India report. They said that it was tarnishing the image of the institute, and there were people who said that everybody knows this girl, she's a girl who writes every little thing in the blog, so how could she not have written about this in the blog? And basically the whole community was very much against whatever report which had come in the Times of India, and also against this the rape charge.
But some of these were people who were encouraged to file their own complaints after the initial meetings.
Yeah. And that is the night in which, at least for me, I came to know who is in support of me and who is not. Because after that meeting, there were I think maybe 3 people who speak. I did not attend the meeting, but there were 3 people who spoke in favor of me, as in that whatever the newspaper report says is not the actual issue, that sexual harassment is happening here is the real issue also. So that night, I remember Sricheta and Nirjani were 2 people who had come to my room to express solidarity and all that very night of the meeting. And after that, what happened is that the suspension of professors, actually suspension of professors did happen before that, but this unrest of we are losing our professors and they are great teachers started soon after that. And then somehow the identity of other complainants also became known to other students. And then the ostracization spree started altogether. People stopped talking to complainants, and now it was before everybody knew that there were more girls who made the complaint. To the outside world, it was all like there is just this one girl who was complaining against all professors and all students and all that. So that was happening, but and at the same time, intimidation towards other complainants were also starting. I think you should.
And as for me, till this point of time, the procedure, the happenings were as she just said. But I was a complainant against 2 professors, and I was completely believing in the system that there is an inquiry, there is a body which is going to inquire into the matter, and the truth will come out in its own due course of time. So, the act also says that the identity of the complainant should be confidential. So, I was not speaking up. I was not going to the media or something. And but in my private space, I had shown solidarity to Akhila. But suddenly, we don't know how, but we actually know, but we cannot conclusively pinpoint because we don't have the proof of it. The accused professors were very much in contact with a large section of the students, and
they were suspended during this time.
Yes, they were suspended. They are extremely popular here, and particularly one of them, he had he was seen more in the hostel than I guess at his home. The hostel was his home. He would drink and smoke up and have a ruckus in the hostel every night. So suddenly with their suspension the fun stopped. So people generally were very angry with who all were the complainants and all that. And because Akhila speaks up and all that, there was a basic idea at the beginning कि ये तो अखिला ही complain किया होगा against him also. But suddenly I think maybe the accused only have spread, otherwise how could it spread? That the complainants were somebody else. And vicious ostracization started. I have heard from people who were at that time still talking to us or sympathetic towards us. Now Akhila and I are completely ostracized. Nobody talks to us. Maybe 5-6 people who are in support of us, just that. But that time the number was a bit more heartening, and I've heard from people like what my complaint was, and it is not at all that. Like
It's been misrepresented.
Completely. And then there was this also this complete rumor going around that because I have complained against 2 professors, but against one of them I have had personal issues because of whatever. Personal vendetta is a word I have heard 2000 times from different quarters, from people who have no business with that man or me. I've heard from them also that it's a personal vendetta being played out. So, and ostracization was not only meted out to us, but also the other 2 complainants. Like one of the complainants had complained against the HOD of her department, and there was a WhatsApp and Facebook campaign where all the students of that department were asked to come together and sign a letter that this man XYZ is a great professor, and if he is proven guilty, if he is not proven guilty, we want him back because our academics is suffering and we want him back. And they were made to sign on it, and the entire 3 batches of that department students, they signed on it, except that girl who was a complainant herself and another girl who was a witness in both of my cases. And thus both of their identities got revealed. And then from then on they have been facing a lot of weird behavior, reactions. So yeah, the ostracization and the victim shaming started from that time. Then I think the
notice of the ICC chairperson, and she reported it, and even people who were witness to this kind of trivialization by the dean, they also went to the chairperson, Mr. Parthu Ghosh, and said that there is an issue like this. Now the chairperson Parthu Ghosh set up a 1-person inquiry committee. This person was a retired judge by the name of Mr. Ganguly. Now all of us especially there was even one first year student. So both of us are in final year, and this boy is in first year. So basically going against the dean like that was a little problematic for us because we were really scared. So it was arranged that we would depose in a place outside the institute, and all of us went there in great secrecy and all that, and we deposed. And then what happened is that the ICC chairperson was the dean apologized to the chairperson. He gave it in writing that I'm sorry for trivializing this thing, and he opted for voluntary retirement. Now
before the inquiry started.
Even before the inquiry started.
Okay.
So, and the ostracization of this first year student actually begins from over there. It again leaked that he is one of the people who testified, and he started getting cornered. And then this also started. Meanwhile, there were also other incidents in which people who had somehow expressed solidarity, at least with me, that 2 batchmates of mine, male batchmates, had expressed solidarity, and later they also, even the small group of people, maybe one or two people who were in the beginning sympathetic to the cause of sexual harassment, later started backing out. And again we were left cornered, and complainants were all left cornered, and even the people who supported the complainants were cornered. And this included juniors and people from all batches, and mostly men also.
I would like to add one thing, like the misogyny of the campus and the pervading idea that we can get away with anything, and like sexual harassment is such a non-important, trivialized issue over here, that at a time when 3 professors were in suspension and the inquiry was going on against them, and the dean had opted for voluntary retirement for whatever reason, but there had been charges against him for trivialization of the issue. Even at that situation, there was a party of some students of the producing department in the other hostel, and a professor was present. And he is a colleague of one of the accused, very close to one of the accused. And there he made a statement publicly in front of others that what is the problem with these girls, why are they shouting and crying so much, and he especially took my name. I think she has some issue. He referred to some other incident previously where I had protested against a human rights violation in a workshop. And he mentioned the name of the person who took that workshop, Tanmay Agarwal, and he said वो तन्मय अग्रवाल के टाइम से शी इज शाउटिंग कि तन्मय अग्रवाल ये किया वो क्या किया, रेप तो नहीं किया ना उसको. And so this is a professor speaking in front of students in a situation when there is a sexual harassment inquiry going on in campus. So yeah.
And during the same time, this instigation from professors from outside was being carried out full-fledgedly. Like the same professor, for example, went to student groups and he was reassuring the students that yes, our HOD will be back and these charges will not stand, and basically providing confidence to the student groups who are hostile to us and who are in support of the professor that nothing is going to happen and you're all going to get your HOD back. So this kind of thing was happening, and the accused professors, at that time accused professors, that they were in constant touch with the students is, it's common knowledge. So that was also happening. Now before inquiry, an incident happened after inquiry.
After inquiry started. Inquiry, the preliminary investigation was over by this time. Our hearing started from February, I think, 9th February, first hearing.
So basically from end December to all of January, inquiry hasn't it started?
Investigation was
Okay,
going on.
people are in some people, the accused have been suspended, but they are still in touch with students here, and they have other faculty members are either making fun of the fact that either implying that sexual harassment is not a big deal, or are shaming people who have complained, and other students are already taking sides which is not in support. Okay.
And before the within this period of December, January, also because the students were actively victim blaming and actively taking part in slut shaming us and whatever. So a new member was added to this inquiry committee, the ICC. Soma Sengupta. She's an NGO activist. As to why they are not getting to know what is happening in ICC, and they were pushing the then general body members the president and the general secretary the ICC is not functioning properly, we are not knowing what is happening and stuff like that, and they were being told again and again that the procedure is supposed to happen in confidentiality, and even the students association members are not supposed to know anything. But they were getting very angry and restless about it, and at the same time the victim blaming, the slut shaming, the spreading of lies and all that was going on. So we had given multiple letters about intimidation and victim blaming at that time to the ICC and the institute. So on the basis of all these complaints, the ICC chairperson Putul Mahmud invited the new member of the ICC, Shoma Sengupta, who is also the director of an NGO called Sanhita, which deals specifically with sexual harassment at workplace, to give a talk at the institute in order to sensitize the people regarding the working of ICC, how it's supposed to happen and why it takes time and things like that. The meeting was well publicized. It was put up on notice boards, particularly people who were the most active in this intimidation and victim blaming. They were being called up personally. They were being called by the president of the then Students Association. Everybody chose not to appear, not to be present in that meeting. And because I'm just mentioning this might sound inconsequential, but it's just that this entire blame of we never knew what was happening, ICC secrecy mein kuch karta raha, and they are just blaming people and just making people's lives a hell, and any complaint is coming, they are acting on it in a biased fashion without letting people know what is happening. This is going on till now and it has reached its peak now. But I'm just saying this to keep a record of the fact that twice such meetings were arranged by external people to come and talk regarding the procedure which was followed and which is the procedure according to the law of the land, and people chose not to be present and they keep on blaming us. So yeah, so I've reached till January. But in one of my cases against one of the professors, a girl, see the way it happened, when we gave the complaints, after that the ICC chairperson, after going through our complaints, she said she called each of us individually, separately, and explained to us what the procedure would be like, where she said that we have to present some witnesses. Of course, according to Vishankha guidelines, there will not be conclusive witnesses in a case like sexual harassment, but somebody I've spoken to about it and all that. So she said, can you remember whom all you have spoken to about this incident, and I told her the names. And in one of my complaints is a complaint about something that happened in a party. So I was narrating to her the entire incident again, just in a bit to remember who all were there, who all saw me. And I remembered while narrating that there were two persons with whom there were eye contacts during the party, because I was feeling very harassed by the man, and they had taken me away, like making some excuse, we want to have a dance with Ritita, and I said, okay, they had taken me away. So I had given the names. The ICC chairperson had approached one of those persons. She had given a testimony, an audio recording of it is with the ICC, in favor of me. What all she saw, the fact that she saw me cornered, and that she had to take me away. 2 months down the line, when the hearings start in February, I find she is a witness for the professor against me, and she has given a deposition saying the fact that she was cornered in the party is a lie. And that deposition that she had given, it was with regard to the incident only, there were 3 lines where she is contradicting herself's previous deposition, and the rest of the 1.5 page letter is just slandering me. This person has not adjudged her the best student in class. Would she do this if she had been adjudged the best student in class? And complete slandering happening in a official procedure deposition. And in the hearing, this accused professor had brought 2 persons as his witnesses. Very interestingly also, when the hearing started, this I can speak on behalf of all 4 of us complainants. All 4 of us complainants presented some witnesses, and the ICC had asked the professors, both of them, multiple times during each of their hearings, do you want to cross-examine the witnesses? And they said no. They never cross-examined any of our witnesses. We cross-examined their witnesses. And so he did not cross-examine my witnesses, but as his witnesses, he presented 2 people. One is a person who himself has sexual harassment records on campus. He has a past violence, a history of creating violence on campus. He has been thrown out of the staff quarters as a punishment and put to hostel. That's the SRFTI way of punishment for creating violence in the quarters. And he has beaten up light boys. He has had several incidents of violence and sexual violence in the campus. He was a witness in speaking in favor of the accused professor, and the other person was the girl who previously deposed in favor of me, and in the hearing time she becomes his witness. And on the day of hearing, I sent her a message that today is my hearing, like I sent the message to all of my witnesses that please come because you are supposed to depose in front of the body. She refused to come, and she has slapped a charge of intimidation against me, saying that despite knowing that she is appearing as a witness for him, I am sending her messages to come for a hearing in my favor, and that is intimidating. I don't know how that can be intimidating, because once a person has given an audio recording, that is supposed to stay. And she signed on it. And later she said that she signed on the transcript of the audio recording without reading it. So yeah, that was also happening. Witnesses turning hostile. Then we'll talk about the hearing procedure.
Will you talk a bit about the kinds of intimidation that you've had to face?
Intimidation.
You and others.
Yeah. Basically, it all started with people stopping conversation with Prime Minister. They all stopped talking to us. Then there were instances in which this, a certain kind of untouchability was practiced against us. Like if men were passing, men who used to be friends with us would pass by us and would, just stay as far away from us. Suppose you are passing in a corridor, they would just stick to the wall so that even by accident they wouldn't touch us or something like that. And other complainants have had instances where this party is a common thing which happens in SRFTI. Like after projects,
people have gotten up from the table if I have sat on the same table with them in the mess to eat. It has happened. I've stopped going to the mess to eat because it's a very harrowing experience. Several times it has happened. I'm sitting on a table, and if I'm sitting on somebody else's table, they'll just take the plate and go to the next table. It has started.
and other intimidation. This violence started becoming more and more after, I think, what had happened is that people failed to, like she said, people who were going against us in all forums simply failed to show up to the sensitization program which was organized in the institute. After that, we had been asking the director of the institute to address the students and explain the state of affairs in detail so that all misconceptions are cleared. The director never did that. After all that, one day there was a notice which was put up in the hostel saying drinking publicly is banned.
Okay.
Now this, the thing is, none of us complainants know why, as in what prompted this thing. I mean, the drinking in public is banned everywhere, I believe. But then SRFTI brought out a notice like that, maybe because drinking is prevalent in all places, all spaces over here. Even weed is like that over here. But they brought out that notice and somehow everybody just started believing that the complainants were behind this notice. So that is the time when there was a lot of violence happening, as in the room next to my room is another supporter's room. She's not a complainant herself. She's a witness and also she has made a complaint against this professor on disciplinary grounds. So right above her room and next to Srijata's room, there used to be boisterous partying and they were thumping the floor and giving giving galis throughout the night, which we can very well hear from over here. So
badminton tournament.
So this drinking and this boisterous drinking just started getting louder and louder. And then during the badminton tournament which happened, they announced that after the badminton tournament there is going to be a party, all of you please contribute. That's how after badminton tournament also there is a daru party. So then one student who was sitting next to the commentator said something in the commentator's ears, and then the commentator corrected his sentence saying, no, it's not a party, some bhajan kirtan is going to happen tonight, so please contribute money towards that. And then it was a joke, everybody knew what it meant. And then basically all of us went to sleep after. I myself was playing in the tournament. After that we went to sleep and it was all fine. Now this is another badminton court which nobody uses, right in front of my room. So after that night at around 6 in the morning, I wake up to hear this loud banging sound, which is like this iron metal beating against metal basically. And it's not just me, a lot of people in the hostel have woken up at 6 in the morning because it's that loud and it's what is happening. Everybody is coming to the corridor and looking at what is happening. So that is when my friend who was in the same room as he went out and saw what was happening. And then one of the boys said, now you go record this. Recording is the new trend, right? Record this. So then he went back, took his phone camera and actually recorded it. And that is when you get that video of these people banging the pole and giving galis and in the end calling me Venki Lodi. That is the video which happened that morning. And then this drinking just continued on and on and on. And
that very day only they again had that party in his room.
Yes.
I had to go to somebody else's room because I was very scared.
Yes, exactly. So after that what happened is that after that incident of violence itself, we called the then warden. Now and we asked him to just evict these people out of here. They're creating a lot of violence over here. So these students who were earlier drinking and giving us galis, they along with a lot of other students marched to the administration and they said that we need to talk to the director. And then the director addressed the whole student community and they discussed why a law like a rule like you cannot drink in public is passed, because there are a lot of people who love alcohol over here and we need alcohol and we need permission to drink in public, in hostel and parties. So the director stood there for like 45 minutes, I think, explaining to them the decision and all that. And in the very same meeting, I had to ask the director why he did not address the students till that point where they asked why we cannot drink in public. Because
Okay, so if it's a question of sexual harassment, you don't address your students, but if people can't drink in public, you address them.
Yes, exactly. So then that happened and then I had a complete breakdown after that because it was too much for me to handle. But then anyway, after that, the ostracization like spread throughout, because they firmly, I think, still believe that we are behind the ban on alcohol. And okay, that happened, and then these 3 students were suspended basically. There were around 5 students who were present in that incident, but the institute suspended 3 students from the hostel. Now that also, the student community just couldn't take that. The majority wanted these students back, and they started filing letters saying none of us have a problem with these students being in the hostel, that why are they not in the hostel, why have they been sent away, and things like that. And massive campaigning for these 3 students to be brought back started. And before any notice was brought out, these students even came back to the hostel and started living in the hostel. And then one of those students even repeated an offense with Sricheta, like another sexual harassment complaint. And still institute did not take any action. And like she said, the very same night of all this happening, there was again a drinking party. And this was a time when the chairperson Parthu Ghosh was asking Debjani and me, Debjani basically, why are you crying about violence and drinking in the hostel? There is nothing happening. So this Saurabh Suman giving Galiwala incident happens, and on the very same night, the room right above Debjani's, galis are being thrown from there, and stomping off the floor, and basically her whole room is thundering with all these men.
When the Saurabh Suman incident happened that morning, I was not here, because all this while handling the sexual harassment cases, I was also shooting my documentary. So I was in Midnapur. I come to Kolkata, and I land in the institute, and I directly go to the preview theatre meeting with the director addressing students, asking them to drink, but not to drink just publicly. Very mild addressing. And that very night, in this guy's Sajal Anand's room is just next to my room. He's also one of the men present in the pole banging video, and he's having a party in his room, and it's a show of strength. They are thumping the floor above Devjani's room, and they are shouting out galis. The music is so loud, you cannot sleep, you cannot do anything, and there are around 50 men who have come to his room to attend a party, and I live alone in my room. I was so scared, I had to go to another complainant's room to sleep, because I was fearing they would do some harm to me physically. So after that, that suspension order came. We again complained, and I think the chairperson addressed the students. The chairperson and the director, they addressed the students, and then that suspension order came, suspending these 3 students from hostel. And
the meeting and running around the whole terrace, imitating her voice and my laughter, he called me a liar, looking at me, and this should be viewed in the context of the rape complaint I filed, because he is a student of cinematography. This professor is a professor of cinematography, and these boys are in constant touch with the professor. And he called me a liar, looking at me. So I asked him, why are you calling me a liar? And then he again came very close to me, and he was totally drunk. And then I said that you are drunk, don't do this now, you're drunk. And then 5 people came around me and saying things like, he is not drunk, while he is actually reeking, and I can smell it. And now they have given a complaint saying it was I who provoked him and he was not drunk. And same with Sricheta, same with other people who intimidated us. And in the end of it, the student body was dissolved, and we, going by all reasoning that we can come up with, we know that it was a measure to remove these 2 people who were sympathetic to the cause of sexual harassment. Now after that, an interim body is formed, in which the nominees are the same people who have been suspended from hostel, who have had sexual harassment charges against them, and whose names are in a general diary filed in Panchazar police station by Kalhan Raina after the public trial incident. And the current members who re-elections happened, and the current members of the body themselves are people who have been involved in slandering as well as intimidation, and also people who are on police records basically. So this whole current student body who is now pushing people including pushing for the whole student community to stand up against us complainants are basically people who have been elected through an illegal process, an election which is actually null and void, and also people who are on police records.
So the Students Association has not tried to do anything to increase gender sensitization on campus?
Not yet. They claim they have. Because after this new body came into power, the very same night, the incident in which Srijata and Devjani were, catcalled and passed comments and all that happened. Again, the boy is the same boy who was drunk that night. So what the student body has done is, in fact, sanctioned letters in support of this boy, saying that we were the ones who provoked them, that is Srijata and Devjani were the ones who provoked them. And at the same time, they are also saying that they are in support of, as in they are willing to help us, and they are in for reconciliation and things like that.
What does reconciliation mean?
Reconciliation is basically us, I think, withdrawing all allegations or withdrawing complaints, or we are not really sure what reconciliation means for them. And after the student body makes this claim that they are attempting for a reconciliatory whatever, the next day the professor, one of the accused professors, gives a quote in a newspaper that there is a rumor that action might be taken against me in spite of the institute having given legal advice against the ICC report from multiple legal sources.
What is the ICC? What does the ICC report say?
ICC report says that 2 professors have been found guilty, and that ICC has given a set of recommendations in which it has recommended that they should not be continuing in service here, and also should be made ineligible for any other government job. So ICC has given such strong recommendations. Also others, but these are concerning the professors. So the professor makes a quote saying that he knows that institute has approached multiple legal sources and they have advised against the ICC report. He is also mentioning that the vast majority of students who are in support of us professors in the institute is definitely going to protest, and is definitely these people are going to question, and there will be some rage in the institute. So he is actually saying in so many words that the student community, who is now saying that we want some kind of reconciliation, is actually in support of him. So this comes out in a public platform like a newspaper, and also this also has to be viewed in this context that the chairperson Partho Ghosh, I have filed a series of complaints, as in I have written one complaint after another against the brutal harassment that he subjected me to, in which he said things like you are provoking them, the tali ek haath se nahi bajti and things like that, and mocking me, saying that if you're feeling so threatened, I shall give you a security guard who walks with you 24/7, things like that. So I wrote a complaint against it. So basically I'm just trying to say that this is the attitude of the chairperson himself against in the matter of sexual harassment. Now in the GC meeting, the governing council meeting that we tried to meet the information and broadcasting ministry personnel along with our parents, me, Srijata, and a male witness's father, he had come down from Bhopal. So we with our parents wanted to go in. We were not let in the beginning, like they asked us to wait for 45 minutes, and we are waiting and waiting. And then when we try to go in, they say that okay, parents can go in, students cannot. We protest. We are handled by this female security personnel, and one complainant gets bruises, and my mother's arm hurt for 2 days after that. So after all this ruffling up and this scuffle, we somehow make an entry into the governing council thing, and we share our concerns and all that. We come out. Then we see that there is this whole group of maybe 40 students or something coming with a group of female students with a letter with a lot of signatures. Nobody is asking us to sign on anything. It's as if we are not students over here. They are going around taking signatures on some paper, and 5 girls are let in. We asked them, 5 girls are being let in with, the only thing missing is a red carpet. You are opening the doors for them. Why were we handled this way? So they're like, we have been given the names of these 5 students 15 minutes ago that they should be let in. So basically, who were the people present in that governing council meeting who are from the institute? You have Chairperson Parthu Ghosh, you have the dean who was Mr. Ghoshal at that time, and the director at that time, Sri Amaresh Chakrabarti. So these are the 3 people who were present in that governing council meeting who could have granted permission for these 5 students who are from the institute. So we know that there are forces from within the administration who are empowering students and who are instigating students to go against us. So that is why you have wide open doors for representatives, and you should also, this classic case of using women against women, it's like so prevalent in SRFTI, you cannot believe it. Like one of the girls was a complainant herself. Her plea to the governing council could have been different. I'm not sure what it was. But anyway, this large group of hostile men are sending 5 women inside with some signed letter. And we also see that Kaushik Das and someone else who have been punished only the day before are trying to gain entry. They're not let in, but still they're trying to gain entry. This is not engineered just by students. There is active participation of the administration in it. That is why instead of providing, in any protest, any student protest, you will see that there is at least a faction of the faculty who stand with the students. Like, we are talking at a time when 2 professors are on a hunger strike in HCU, and we all know what the reason is. You will not see one professor from SRFTI who has spoken in favor of any of the complainants publicly.
Have they personally reached out to you, any of the professors?
Personally, not really. At least not to me. So, you know what really happens is, if there is a sexual harassment complaint, like if I am the chairperson of or if I am faculty in an institute, and if a girl is saying that I have been raped by a professor, and the news is out in the media, I should be out there in the streets saying that we need justice for this girl. Same should be done with all the complainants. Same should be done by all faculty members ideally. But instead you have faculty members instigating students, promising students that these professors will be back. You have got nothing to worry. If the professors are not proven guilty, the complainants shall be punished. Be sure of that. Things like that. So this is, there is this protective layer of faculty, administration and students instigated by them. And this is the reason why only yesterday, like, we don't have a place to go to. Like, I go to the chairperson, he harasses me. I go to the dean or the director, and I can't be sure what they think, because I have my fears that they might be part of the people instigating students. We have nobody to complain to, and we are stuck here for over 6 months. We have been stuck here. There was this other thing I wanted to say. Actually, after I complained against the chairperson to INB wrote back to me saying that please be patient and we shall take action and everything. And that mail was forwarded to the chairperson as well. I had to write back saying I have made a complaint against Mr. Parthu Ghosh, and you cannot be corresponding with me in something which is CC to the chairperson.
But this has been happening to you, right? The ICC report was also given to the accused before.
Exactly. ICC report, we had to fight for 1.5 months involving forces from outside majorly, putting pressure on the institute for getting a document which is rightfully ours, and which was also shared with the accused professors. And it's in hindsight we know that those 10 or 12 days after the ICC report was submitted was the period of time when there was a resurgence of violence from part of students. And I don't think it's coincidence. The professors obviously have shared it with the students and have instigated them further. So so after I complained against the chairperson, this very dubious correspondence happens. I write to the ministry saying that you should be setting up an inquiry committee against the chairperson and not engage in the CC'd mail conversation. Then the chairperson himself writes to me saying that by saying that washing dirty linen in public, you shall not wash SRFTI's dirty linen in public, he was only talking about the confidentiality clause of the Sexual Harassment Act. I don't know what to say to that, because the dirty linen he is asking me not to wash in public is basically rape culture and misogyny. So yeah, that happens. I write back to the ministry again, and then I know that the chairperson has called for a meeting of all faculty. This I come to know from a faculty who was present in the meeting, and he has called. This faculty is the only other person who has, at least in person, supported us. Anyway, so in the faculty meeting, they're like, okay, now what shall we do with her? She's maligning the name of the institute in public. And all of them, that is most of the faculty, sign a letter saying that action should be taken against me. That is when I again go out to social media, like when you ask
Anuj. Oh, yeah. So he's there in the video also.
he's there.
Then after that, the procedure, the inquiry procedure was still going on. Our hearings were, we were being given dates and the hearings were going on. In April, my door banging incident happened in April, but I'm just trying to remember something else happened before that or not.
Talk about the door banging.
Yeah, basically there was a party and like we said, ostracization. Sometime in March end or something, there was a party organized by my batch, by the direction students of my batch, to celebrate the finishing of the semester and the completion of the documentary project. I was the only person who was not invited to the party, and my camera person also, he was also the then president of the Students Association, and he was very pro complainant. He was giving us a lot of moral support, and he had also started facing, like she talked about her male friends, he also had started facing massive ostracization and bad mouthing in this period of time. So the two of us, we decided we will go to the party because it is our batch also. We have also finished, completed a project, and we will go. In the party, I have never felt as bad in any public gathering as that one. People who even worked with me, who have stayed with me on location during the documentary shoot, in the same room we have stayed and shot. They refused to even look at me, register my presence. It was as if I was made of glass and people could walk through me. Nobody looked at me, nobody talked to me. I was sitting in a corner, and after half an hour or something I left. So that is the scene with parties, and so I had stopped going to parties. On 30th April night, a senior of mine had completed his project, and I am very fond of this senior, so I went in his party to congratulate him. One of those people accused and suspended out of hostel for the pole banging incident is a crew member of that senior. So that man, despite being suspended from hostel, he was present on the terrace for that party. He saw me, I saw him, none of us, we exchanged anything. There were at least 30 other people on the terrace. Nobody spoke a word. I just went, I congratulated the senior, I came back to my room after some time. Around 4 in the morning, and I had asked one of my friends to stay back with me in the room that night because I have developed a phobia for nights when there are parties or something like that in campus, and particularly because my room is on the same floor in which the terrace where the parties happen is located. So I'm very scared of parties anymore, and that's why whenever there's a party, I ask somebody to stay back with me. So there was this person who was staying with me, and around 4:45 in the morning, there's a loud knock on my door. I was too scared to open. I did not open, and then the thumping went on. And this person opened the door, and there were 3 men, one of those accused in the pole banging incident, and the other 2 who were of them, one extremely close to one of the accused professors. He was seen drinking with him every other night in the hostel, and they are completely drunk, sloshed, and they backed off the moment they saw this other person open the door, and they were like, "Oh, where is Srichita?" And this guy said ki she's sleeping, and they were like, "Oh, we came to invite her for the party. Why did she come back so early? Come back to the party. That's why we came here." He said ki she's sleeping. Please go away. And they left. But I found this to be a very scary incident, and particularly if that man was not present in my room that night, I don't know what they would have done. They are 3 drunk big men who have come to my room at night. So I took this matter up, and frankly speaking, by the time I was growing tired of complaining to institute every other day, every other weekend, I have to write a fresh complaint about something is happening. So this matter, I first took it up with the Students Association. The president and the general secretary were present, and these 3 men who banged my door were present, and we were made to and you should have seen their attitude when they are being questioned on something for an incident in which they are in the wrong. Their body language was extremely attacking, and they actually pointed their fingers at me and told me things like, तुझे कंप्लेन करना है ना, कर ले, हम देखेंगे क्या करेगी तू. One of them, he's a senior student, he's a pass out. He kept on saying कि a hostel room is not your private space, कि you will say कि you are interfering in my private space. It's a public space, anybody can go anywhere, anytime, and people like you are completely destroying the atmosphere of this place. You are ruining this place, and we have seen this place in a different way, and we will do what we have to do. तुमको जो करना है ना, complain कर लो. And the Students Association demanded an apology letter from them. They have sent apology letters to the official mail ID of the Students Association, where the subject of the mail is knock knock, which how serious they are about the matter is very explanatory from that.
उसके बाद I think we'll have to talk about the dissolving of the. So like she was saying, within this student body, elected student body, there were basically 2 people who were very supportive of complainants, in that they were completely against any kind of victim blaming or slut shaming or any. They were actually openly against it. So this was the then president of the Students Association and the general AGS, Assistant General Secretary. So then during that time there was a trend that was happening, which was that within the student body there are also other members, and these are members who were maybe not sympathetic to the cause, because they were doing a lot of slandering and victim blaming within their meetings. So now when the president,
the
chairperson also, so once when the president of the body was away, he was not on campus, a meeting was called, and the AGS also, the AGS went there, and he recorded the whole conversation that these elected members were having. And it so happened that in that conversation, one of the members was slandering the ICC chairperson. So when the AGS talked of this matter to me, I said that this should immediately be raised in ICC, and I went to the chairperson and reported this matter. And she had a talk with the student who was engaged in slandering. Basically, I think someone else was also present in that meeting. Anyway, she had a talk with the boy who said that. And the next thing we know is that there is a vote happening saying that we should dissolve the student body. Why? Because one person recorded the student body meeting. So then that happened, and again, the president and the AGS is the person who recorded the conversation. So suddenly all of them said that we need to dissolve the body, and they actually forced the AGS, his name is Kalhan Raina. So Kalhan, who is the person who recorded the conversation, was forced to go on the terrace against his will. Now people are now coming up with logic that he was not dragged over there, he walked to the terrace and went over there. But it's like, there is a mob and the mob is asking you to, let's go there and have a meeting for 5 minutes. You come, explain your stance and you leave, we'll dissolve the body, that's it. So the president was against this meeting, which started rather late, and it was not informed, people were not informed of it properly. There was no notice put up, nothing. It was called, an emergency meeting was called, and then it was happening, whatever was happening was happening. So at night we started hearing, from over here I started hearing shouts from the terrace. And then after whatever happened, we are, super paranoid and we jump at each noise we hear and things like that. So I went up to Sri Cheta's room and I asked, should we go to the terrace, because I'm hearing voices and it doesn't sound good, they're shouting. So then both of us decided to go over there, and there we found that Kalhan is being subjected to a public trial. That is like, there are 40 people surrounding him. He's standing in a corner, there are 40 people surrounding him who are questioning him. And we later realized that this had been going on for 1 hour already when we went over there. And we went over there, and when this he was being questioned like this, like a harp thing, I went over there and I interrupted the whole thing, and then the violence which was being inflicted on Kalhan spread to me and Sri Cheta and Kalhan together. So there were like packets of three bunches of people surrounding each of us, and they were unleashing violence over us. In that meeting, it was again like this trial continued for 2 more hours, and it rained in between. They still did not stop. And things like, there was one man who came like this close to my face and he yelled something so obscene, as in it sounded like a rape threat to me, but I couldn't make out what it was. Only his face made a very obscene gesture. So I had to go behind him. I was so enraged, I went behind him and I asked him to explain what he was saying. Like, come to me and say what you were saying properly if you want to say something. He came up to me and he shouted that I am not afraid of you, I am not Shamal Sen Gupta. Shamal Sen Gupta is another professor who has been found guilty, against whom I have also made a sexual harassment complaint. So he shouted this. Apart from this Kaushik Das, who is now currently under suspension, the same person who has multiple allegations against him, he started imitating Sri Cheta's voice. Her voice is supposed to be shrill. So he is imitating her voice. Ask, where is your support coming from? It is only from outside. The NGOs we have approached, the women activists we have approached, people we have talked to, people from other institutes like JNU and SU we have sought the help of. Instant solidarity and support was given to us. Why even after 6.5 months, we are from SRFTI student community themselves, we are only getting hoax promises of reconciliation and things like that.
Okay, we'll